Good. I'm standing directly underneath a clock. Hopefully the mic won't pick up on it. I read this many books in January. Thank you, future me. I love leaving work for future me to do. And then she leaves work for future her to do. And then it just never gets done. The first book I read in January was Damsel. It's a YA fantasy that tries to like flip the damsel in distress trope. Basically, you'll see it in a video. Then I read the short story Slow Time Between the Stars. This is a part of a series of sci-fi novel or whatever. I don't know. It's Jeff Bezos thing. This was a 4-star book. I loved this one. This is about an intelligent, self-aware ship that we here on Earth send off into the cosmos to go and find us a replacement home. This is about this ship's journey. This was cute. I like it when I read a short story and I'm like content with the length. Like I did not need more. Then I read Book Lovers and I gave that 3 stars, and there's a whole video about it. And this is a very popular book, so I don't need to tell you about what it is. It's a contemporary romance about 2 people who fall in love with each other while editing the worst book ever written. Then I flipped through a nonfiction called The Climate Change Garden. It was informative. I think this is for like beginners. I was reading reviews. A lot of the people were saying that, this is not new information or whatever. So I think that if you are new to having a garden, this could be useful to you. I thought it was pretty interesting. I would like to think that there is a universe somewhere in which there exists a Samu who is not petrified, absolutely terrified of worms, and therefore is living out her dreams of having a garden. But that's not this universe. I like the emphasis on community of like things like if you're preparing your garden or your plot or whatever for like flood drainage and stuff, consult with your neighbors. Like don't make the flood water their problem. But yeah, this is very much like a reference book to prepare you for the near future, which is gonna be hell, even more hellish than usual. Then I read The Sleepless by Nuzo Ono. I have an entire video about that as well. African horror set in Nigeria from the perspective of a child. Horrific, sometimes funny. And I gave that one 5 stars. Check out the video on that. The Secret City. This one is also going to be in a video. But this is like about aliens who are like secretly on planet Earth. They look like Neanderthals. And they have a secret city. Thorn Hedge by T. Kingfisher, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. There will be a video on this also. Fairy tale fantasy vibes. Absolutely adored, loved this book. And in a similar vein, I read Tress of the Emerald Sea. Also loved this one. This was a 9 out of 10 book for me. Also, fairy tale fantasy vibes will also be in a video in the future. Another book that is in a video that currently exists right now is Farsia. This one I read for my video in which I was trying to unhate dinosaurs, and I did so successfully, and this book helped. This is a xenofiction told from the perspective of aliens who are dinosaurs. And it's basically, what if Galileo was an alien dinosaur? 4 stars. Then I read A Question of Navigation. This book, this is interesting. This is like this is not for me. It's supposed to be like a fun, campy sci-fi book, right? Like a guy gets abducted by aliens and is on an alien ship. They have to like fight back. It's one of those fun, fun short campy book. This is told in first person from the perspective of a Black American man, but you could see the British white manness of the author slipping through, not in like a negative way, but just in like references and the way that he was speaking. Like some English people like to end sentences with yeah. Maybe we should go to the mall after lunch, yeah? Like that. Also mentioning Tories negatively. No offense to, people from the US, but I don't think people from the US, unless they're like particularly like plugged in to like the world, I don't think they know what a Tory is. So things like that. The other thing that was not working for me was the tone. This is supposed to be like fun and campy, but at the same time, it was very serious in some parts. And I don't do well when things are like discordant tonally. Does not work for me. Would I recommend it? I don't know. If you're a man and you like like fun campy sci-fi, I guess maybe. Then I read The Salvation Gambit and I gave this 4 stars. I loved this book. This is a science fiction set in the far future. This is told from the perspective of a criminal. If I remember correctly, it's first person, and the fact that I don't remember is like a good thing. That means I didn't get tired of the character, of being in the character's head. Anyway, lady con artists, and they get caught. This is a far future in which we've populated the galaxy, and unfortunately there's this like ship that goes around. It's called Justice, I think. It goes around asking various settlements for their sinners. And so a group of criminal gals recently got caught, and so they quickly get rushed through the justice system, and they're like, yep, go in there. So they basically get thrown into the mouth of this ship, never to escape again. This was fun. This was a good time. It was lesbian, loved it. There's like a part in this book in which two of our characters are like checking out, like gawking basically at a woman at a woman's arms. She's like ripped. I was like, yep, lesbian. This was fun. This was a very fun science fiction. I will be reading more of this author's work because I had a great time reading this. I liked this, and I usually don't like, I'm a criminal and it's a sci-fi world and I have to do criminal shady things. I usually don't like books like that, but this worked. The main character did annoy me sometimes, but it's like, this kind of reminded me of some of the themes in Planetfall by Emma Newman, a book that I absolutely adored. Another great sci-fi book was Wherever Seeds May Fall. Also another 4-star book. This one is a first contact novel, but not really. This is set like current day-ish Earth. This is not one of those, they come and then we exchange information and then maybe something happens. It's not one of those. Most of the book is the lead up to the first contact. Like, we're aware that something is coming. We don't know if it's an alien or not. Some people think it is an alien. I enjoyed this despite this being from the perspective of one of our characters is in the military, the US military, and no, I'm just like not interested in that. It's just always funny to me how Western authors, they always paint themselves as the good guys in the books, and the Russians and the Chinese are the ones who are going to make weird irrational decisions about the alien. But no, not the US. Not the US and Europe, they're going to be the rational, calm ones. What this book is really about is our current climate surrounding information and misinformation, mostly online, but even in real life. The reactions to this event, they felt so real. The misinformation, expecting the worst, the fear responses of the public in general, fueled mostly by the media. And also, I could just imagine myself in this world, sitting on my couch waiting for this event to happen. And the news media having 10 panelists on, all with their own insane theories, just whipping the public up into a frenzy, making us panic. It was interesting. I like that I did go into this expecting your traditional first contact story, but I did like that it wasn't just that. You know what I think about when I think of the world ending, if we have advanced warning? Most of us are oh, I would not go to work or whatever. But there are some people and some things that rely on people going to work, people who live in homes who need assistance, and zoo animals and stuff, the electrical grid, things like that. Systems and people and things rely on some people going to work. So I wonder what would really happen. Would you, if you are one of those people who we rely on you going to work, would you go to work? Then I read, oh my God, why did I read this book? I said I was not going to read any more contemporary romance, but I lied to myself. Because I read one and it was the worst type of contemporary romance, a second chance romance. Why are second chance romances so bad? The trope has so much potential, but it's not done well because you have to walk the line. You have to make the breakup make sense, but at the same time, it can't be so egregious. The thing that the partner did can't be so egregious that you're move on. Anytime I read one, I'm just move on. What are we doing? There are so many men and women on planet Earth. Oh my God, move on. Anyway, I read Forget Me Not and I gave this 2 stars. The fact that I finished this book is, surprising to me. It started off interestingly enough with our main character. She's a people pleaser in a very pathetic way. And the guy, I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what was going on. These two were very childish. They got married young or whatever. They've been divorced for 2 years or something. He gets into a plane crash and loses his memory and forgets. First of all, somebody take the medical license of the doctor in this book away. What the hell? What are you doing? You can't tell him that you were divorced. Take it away. Anyway, shenanigans happen. It's a contemporary romance. I'm done. I'm never going to pick up another one ever again. I'm done. Then finally, I read Bosom Buddies. What are you called? A celebration of female friendships throughout history. And this was cute. This was very nice. I love Sally Nixon's illustrations. Just in general, her art. I love it. The lines, the detail. She has an art style that begs you to sit there and just look at every single millimeter of the image, all of the details. And again, her lines are amazing. The stories themselves, I like the idea of this, But I'm not a fan of how like US centric it is. I was not like interested in like, oh, this is the first lady and she was friends with this. But I don't care. Oh my God, I don't care. There were a lot of stories like that. There were a lot of stories of like famous people I don't care about also. But there were some interesting ones in there sprinkled out. Again, the art is great, but it's cute, cute little book. Then all the books I didn't finish in January. Some of these are also going to be for the videos that will come in the future. So I'm not even going to bother mentioning them, but I'll talk about the ones that are not. The first one I want to mention is Halfling by S.E. Wendell. Oh my God, the cover, so cute. This was too long. I was into it at the beginning. I'm always excited whenever I find a romance with a non-human male and it's not rapey and weird and abusive and creepy. So I was excited for this one. It's not rapey, it's cute. So it starts off from what I remember with our girl and she gets like kidnapped by orcs. And the orcs in this book are terrible. They're bad and rapey and awful. But she gets rescued by a halfling and they go on an adventure. She wants to go home or whatever. It started off interestingly enough. I liked the guy, the halfling. The main character was all right also. They weren't annoying me. The characters weren't annoying me. But this was too long. So she gets rescued. They go on a journey. The journey ends. And then they reunite. And now they're going to go on another journey again. Then I tried to read A Dance for the Dead by Nuzo Onoa, one of my new favorite authors. But I didn't finish this one. This one didn't interest me. This is like historical horror. And I can't. I cannot. I think this is pre-colonial, but like I can't deal with historical fiction. And I didn't care about any of the characters. Like creepy things, scary things were happening. And I was like, I don't care. All of you could die and I don't care. Then I read Plague Birds. I read a lot of this. This is a weird dystopian fantasy sci-fi set in the very, very far future. And this is after we have completely ruined, as human beings have completely ruined ourselves with genetic alterations. We gave ourselves a lot of like animalistic traits, physical and like otherwise. And now a weird society has arisen out of that is trying to reverse the damage that has been done and make the best out of that. A plague bird is somebody who is basically a judge and executioner with superpowers, superpower AI in her blood. This is a weird book. I enjoyed all of that. It read very YA and there wasn't like a specific, we need to go and do this thing. Like that you need with weird fiction, or when you have like a very weird premise, you need a very simplistic, easy to follow plot and then have like a lot of weird things going on around it. But the through line, the thing that gets me from A to B, I need that to be like clear, like obvious, so that I'm not lost in the weirdness. Like we're going to a weird society and then she meets a boy and then there's like a creepy forest and then like this thing. There were a lot of separate interesting ideas, but they didn't connect very well into like one narrative. And the weird stuff wasn't weird enough to keep me engaged. Like in Kim Stanley Robinson's Short Sharp Shock, love that book. That book is so weird, and that's another one where it's just like a string of like weird ideas, but they're so weird that they kept my attention. The thing is, it's not even that long, but it felt long. This needed more time to bake. Then I also read like 15 pages. This is a recent DNF of The Sudden Appearance of Hope. This is about Hope who disappears. Like people forget her, and because it's hard to exist in normal society when everyone forgets you, she's had to turn to a life of crime. And I don't know, she's got something that she wants to do in this. I was not vibing with the writing style. It's like written in first person, but it also felt sterile somehow. In January, there were 13 DNFs in total, which is more than the books that I actually finished. I need to be like held accountable for the contemporary romance things, because the thing with the contemporary romance is, right, that they get you with the synopsis. Like you read the back of the book and you're like, oh, this looks interesting, and then you read it and you're like, oh God, I forgot how bad they were.